Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to see SQL project, and this will be an data analysis SQL project. So this will be an start to end projects, and the complete development and design we are going to see in this entire video. How to write the SQL queries, and we will be using basics queries as well as advanced queries in this entire projects. So it will be a good learning for people who are preparing for data analyst and who are learning SQL as well, right? So the data which we are going to use, it will be a data of a Blinkit store, and the data is we call it as Blinkit analysis, Blinkit data. And for the same data, I have also created different dashboards as well, like Power BI dashboard as well as Excel dashboard, and the videos of those are already available on my channel. So you can just go ahead if you're interested. You can see the videos and you can look if you're how the dashboards design has been done, and you can follow the entire video and you can do the same, and you will be learning so many things from that as well. All right, so in this also we are going to fire many queries, and based on that queries we will be generating few outputs, and the outputs will be obviously for a problem statement, a business requirement which we have from our client, and based on that only we are going to design everything over here, right? So I won't go much into the introduction part, and we will directly roll and we will see what we are going to do in this entire project. So I will just open the PowerPoint presentation which I have, and based on that, I will just go through the problem statement which we have. And after the problem statement, I will take you to the data walkthrough what we have in actual data, and then we will start the actual design in our SQL. Right. So before starting over here, you can do this entire project in any database, right? You can either do it in MySQL database, you can do it in MS SQL Server as well, you can do it in Postgres as well, or you can do it in Oracle or any other database, whichever you want. So all the queries will be same in all the databases, because there are a few queries, but those queries are not used over here. So obviously you can use this entire data or whatever project we are going to design, you can do it in any database, right? So in this current video, I will be using MS SQL Server database. So if you are using the same, you can use it. If you haven't, and if you want to explore it, there are multiple videos available on YouTube on how to install it. The procedure is very easy. You can just go ahead, install, and then you can follow this entire procedure, whatever I'm doing over here. Right. So the first thing in this Blinkit analysis, the customer has provided us the business requirement. And in this, we have to conduct a comprehensive analysis and do this visualization in SQL as well as in Power BI. The Power BI part is already been done. You can watch the video. I will add the link in the description box. But based on that, we have few KPIs requirement over here. So there are total four KPIs, and the KPI is nothing but key performance indicator, which gives the summary of the business and overall idea of the business, how it's running. So and so at very high level, the management looks at their metrics on how they are performing, and based on that they know that if their business is moving towards profitable or they are losing money or they are at break even, right? So based on that only we are going to do some requirements. We have some requirements actually, and I will just full screen this. So the first requirement we have as an KPI is total sales, right? So Blinkit, obviously, it's an online grocery stores applications. I can say it's and quick commerce. I can say a quick commerce application where you can just order few things and you will be instantly, or those will be instantly delivered to your doorstep, right? So the first KPI which we have to find out is total sales, right? So the total sales generated for the period of time which we already have as in our data. So we can do that. So the total sales, and we can, it is the nothing but the overall revenue generated from the whichever the items are being sold. Then what is the average revenue per sale, right? So what is the average sales which we are getting for per order, right? So that's what we have to find out. Then the number of items, so the total number of items sold with whatever the data we have, that also we have to find out. And the next important thing is the average rating, because obviously whenever we are purchasing anything. Not everyone, but few of the people give some ratings to them, and based on that, we have to find out the ratings, average rating as well for that particular store, right? And always remember, I will just give you a business perspective of how Blinkit actually works. So Blinkit right now is available in metro cities, or we can say in some tier one cities as well. So let's say you are living in one area. So what Blinkit does is they open one of the stores in your pin code area, right? Or two or three stores is in pin code area where they store all the grocery materials. And whenever an order is placed, they have to deliver it in 10 or 15 minutes. So they just according to your pin, the order goes to that particular store itself, whichever it lies in, and then the order is been given to you, right? So based on that, also based on locations and based on the store location, also we have to find out different sales, which we will see in forward, going forward in this particular project, right? So these are the four important KPIs which we have to design in this particular project. All right. So after seeing the KPIs, or after looking for the business requirement based on the KPIs, next we have to find out the more granular requirements, right? So based on this particular requirement, what we are going to find out over here is what happens in KPIs is we get we get the summarized or at high level how the business is performing. But let's say if there is more problem in the business, we want to find out what is the exact root cause, where in which particular area the business is losing the money or business is gaining some money as well. We have to find out the products or the stores which are not performing well, so, or the outlets which are not performing well. So based on that, what we have to do is we have to deep dive in the data, and based on that, we have to find out some insights from there. So based on that only, we have some customer requirements, and we will see what are those requirements here. So the first one what we have to do is we have to find out total sales by fat content. Okay. And this is the objective is to analyze based on different fat content what is the total sales. And they are here only not sales, we can we cannot we not only can analyze sales, we can also analyze few other metrics, right? Like we can find out average sales number of items as well as average ratings for this particular fat content dimension, right? So we will see that in the query, and based on that, I will tell you how you can modify the query, and in the next you can do it on your own, right? Also, we have to find out total sales by item type. The same thing, we have to find out how there is a performance of different item types in terms of sales and other metrics as well. The third one we have to find out is based on the fat content by outlet for total sales, right? So there are different outlet which I just mentioned you, the used case or the business case, where how there are different outlets available in different areas based on different pin codes. So how those outlets are also performing, that also we have to see. Then total sales by outlet establishment. What does this mean is the outlet establishment means that let's say there is one of the outlet which has been established 10 years before. After that there was a new outlet opened. Let's say after 2 or 3 years, a new outlet has been opened because the original outlet was not able to meet the requirements, or the delivery distance is very far away from that particular outlet to few of the specific areas. So we create and establish new outlets time to time based on the requirements. So based on that outlet also, what are the different sales and different other metrics as well, right? And also for going forward, we have to find out the percentage of sales by outlet size as well, right? Because the outlet which we are opening, it might be of different size, right? It can be medium, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, depending upon what we are doing, right? So the size of the outlet also matters, as well as outlet location also, right? So geographical distribution also matters over here, and based on that outlet location also, we have to find out different sales performance. And the last is nothing but outlet type, right? So what is the type of that outlet, whether it is a supermarket one, supermarket two, a grocery store, or what is the type of that outlet. Based on that also, we have to find out different revenue, sales, average sales, and all other metrics whichever we have in our data. That everything we are going to analyze in this particular project, right? So we have all our business requirements, and based on this business requirements itself, we are going to build an entire SQL project. We are going to fire SQL queries to the database we have, and based on that only, we will be creating a different and entire portfolio document as well, which you can upload to your portfolio, which is it might be available on Git or any other portfolio website, which you can add it in your resume as well, right? So this is and good learning for you, and let's start. So before moving ahead, I know you guys like the video. Many of you visit, you see the videos, you comment, but most of you do not subscribe. Okay, you can see 84% are not subscribing, whoever are watching, and only 16% have subscribed. So it's my humble request, and for me also, it will be an motivation. It is free for you. You just have to hit that subscribe button, and it will help me to grow as well as, and it will give me a motivation to bring more and more such projects on different domains, advanced level projects as well, right? So please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the like button also if you are learning more and more things from this particular video. So after seeing our business requirement or problem statement, this is the data which we have, and I will give you the quick data walkthrough of whatever we are using in our data. So this is a CSV file, and you have to use a CSV file or a JSON file from which you can upload this particular or import this particular data into our database. And I will show you the process in the next part of this particular video. Not a next part, but I mean in few minutes I will tell you how to do that. But first we'll see how what is the data we have, size of the data, and what actually we have to do in this particular analysis, right? So let's understand each and every field which we have over here. So I will just show you first what we have, and obviously you can download this data. The link is available in the description of video. So the size of the data, if I select this particular column, you can see the count is 8524. Neglect one particular row because it is a header. So the total data we have is 8523, and you have to make sure that the same amount of data is been imported in database as well. You have to check the count over there, right? So this is the number of rows we have, and if you see the number of columns, 12. Okay, so these are the total 12 columns we have, which we are going to make use in this particular analysis, right? So the first column we have over here is a item fat content. So what does this mean? That in the whatever record or whatever product you are buying, what is the fat content in that? And based on that, it has been described over here, regular, low, whatever it is, right? So in this, I would like to tell you that each and every row is gives us the information of a product type, a single product type. So whatever we have in this data, so each row gives us the information of a single product. Okay, so that is very important for you to know, and this is how the data has been created and it is been given to us, right? Then this is the identifier, item identifier, which is a unique code given to this particular each and every food items or items which are been buyed from the Blinkit store, right? Then this is item type. So what type of item has been buyed? We can also call it as item category, whether it was a fruits, frozen foods, or soft drinks, or health and hygiene products, or household products. So likewise, this is an item type. Then this is an outlet establishment year. So what does this mean in our particular data is uh, Blinkit have different stores which are been established in different year, right? Because let's say there is a tier one, tier two, or tier three cities there. In that, in single pin code, there might be 3 to 4 stores available, right? But as demand increases, they have to launch new stores, right? And why they have to launch new stores? Because let's say you place an order and it should be delivered in 10 to 15 minutes. So for that, they should have the store very close to your area or your vicinity or whatever, wherever apartment you are living. And based on that, they open the stores different years depending upon the requirement. And from that particular store itself, all the inventory has been managed over there. It has been kept, and as per the delivery days, they deliver it to the particular customer based on the order they have placed, right? So every time, each year or in different years, the stores are being placed, and based on that, we have. the outlet establishment here. Then we have outlet identifier. It's nothing but an unique number given to each and every outlet, right? Then we have outlet type. So that particular outlet has been available in which particular tier cities, tier 1 city, tier 2 city, likewise. And what is the size of outlet, right? So whether it is a high size outlet, medium small outlet, or a small outlet, right? Based on that. Then what is the type of the outlet, whether it is a supermarket type 1, type 2, or a grocery store from where the whatever packages are being taken and delivered to that particular customer. Then this is the item visibility score actually. So whenever you try to search any item in your app, so based on the score, it will be been brought or served at the top of whatever you are searching, right? And this is the item weight. So what is the weight of that item? This is the sales done behind each and every item, and this is the rating bin which is been provided by that customer to that particular product, right? So this is at a very high level data we have, and by using this data only we are going to do the entire analysis. And always remember, guys, 70 to 75% of work is done on data itself, cleaning the data, modeling the data, understanding the domain knowledge of the data, right? So what is the meaning of each and every field over here, what values they have, whether they have correct data type, whether there are any errors, there are any blanks, any mistaken, or we can say any uh, wrong entries been done in the data. So likewise, everything 70 75% of work is done on data itself. Once your data is cleaned, once your data is modeled correctly, 30% of work is only done on visualization level or writing query level, right? So make sure whenever you are doing any project or any work, company also, if you're working in future, you have to spend a lot of time on data itself, understanding the data, understanding the domain knowledge of that particular business, right? So now let's move ahead. Guys, before moving ahead into our complete roadmap video, as I told you, I have created a different or I have created a complete data analyst material for you. So this is my website. You can just click on the link available in the description. You can come to this website, and here you can see I have created this particular roadmap for you. And if you click on this particular roadmap, you can see these are all these tools which are available, and all this material is actually available in this complete roadmap. And here you can see whatever you can just read this entire description, whatever is available in this, right? And whatever you are going to get in this entire package. So this is all the things, right? So you will get entire roadmap, statistics material, Excel material. In that also, what you will get in detail is mentioned over here: data warehouse material, SQL materials, Power BI, Tableau. Not only this, you'll also get projects also. Here you can see you'll get 6 projects in Power BI, 6 projects in Tableau. You'll get 2 projects in SQL. You'll get 4 projects in SQL, Excel as well. Python material is there. And these are the projects which you are going to get. Soft skill material and practice data sets. Okay. When I say practice data sets, these are the data sets which you can use for your own analysis, where you can create your own projects with whatever learnings you have done in all these particular roles, right? So these are the domains, different domains on which the data sets I have added. I have added 2 different resumes as well, which you can use as a sample resume for your own. And these are the few things which you must read all these things. And if you are interested, you can go ahead and buy this particular package, right? So let's move ahead with. All right, now next thing we will start with data importing in our SQL Server. So before that, we have to launch our MS SQL Server. So for that, if you have already installed, and if you haven't installed, I request you to please go to any YouTube video on how to install MS SQL Server. There are step-by-step videos available. You can follow any video and you can install it. But those who are using a different database, let's say someone is using MySQL or PostgreSQL, so you can follow your own procedure, and you can import the data, and then you can, after that, you can follow what queries I'm writing. You can use the same queries in your databases as well, right? So for me, what I will do, I will just open the MS SQL Server. So I will just use SQL Server. So this is uh, the particular application you have to open, that is SQL Server Management Studio, where it allows you to interact with data and fire the queries as well. So I'll just open it. It will take some time to open. Okay, so it has been opened and I will just click on connect, and it have connected me to my particular MS SQL server. And you can see there are few folders available over here, and this is the database folder. So I'll just click plus, and there are the different databases which I have already created, and you will see your databases created in your particular system, right? So now first thing what we have to do is I will create a new database, right? So I will create a new database for me, and for in that I will import my Blinkit data, right? So I will just right click over here and I will click on new database. So I will just click on new database. So this is how you create a database. Obviously, you can fire the SQL query also to create the database. Create database is the query which you can fire, and you can give the name. Otherwise, this is the simple way where a UI itself gives you an option to create the database, right? So here you will write the database name. It's up to you what name you have to give. I will give it as Blinkit DB. That is nothing but Blinkit database, right? Don't do anything and just click on OK, right? So you can see a new database has been created. If you don't see, you can just click on refresh button. After you click on refresh button, it will be available over here. And now next thing I will just click on this plus button, so it will expand everything, and it have some pre, or you can say existing or auto created folders available over here. Now next thing what we have to do, you can see a tables folder over here, and when you click on plus, so you don't see any external table which is been uploaded over here. So these are the default folders, so this is not in our interest. Now what we have to do is we have to import the data which we have, right? So now for that, before importing any data, what first, just close this particular data which has been already opened in your system, right? So you can see this is the data which has been already opened. So just close this particular file, or if what happens if this file is opened in your system, it will throw an error that it will not allow you to enter the data, right? So I'll just close this and I will just click on save, or I'll just click on don't save, doesn't matter. So just close that particular CSV file. And now next what we will do, I will just right click over here and I will click on tasks, right? So in when you click go in task, and here you have an option called import flat file. Just click on that, and you can see an import flat file dialog box will open, where you can import an external CSV or JSON file in this particular wizard, right? Or in this particular SQL server. So now I will just click on next. Now it is asking me to locate the file to be imported. So I will just click on browse. So this is the file which I have. So you might have already downloaded the file. If you haven't, the link to download the data is already available in the description of this particular video. Just go ahead, download that particular file and save it in one particular folder, and browse the same folder in which it has been saved. Okay, and then just select that particular file and I will just click on open. Okay, then you can see this is the path from where I have just taken this particular Blinkit store grocery data. Then it is asking me that what should be the name of this particular file in that particular database, right? So I will just change this and I will name it as Blinkit data, Blinkit underscore data. Okay, so this can be my file name. Just let me check what should be the name. Yeah, so it can be Blinkit underscore data. It's up to you what name you have to give. It's not required that whatever name I have used, you should be using the same. Then this is nothing but database object. DBO is nothing but database object. This is an object which we are going to import in this particular database. The next thing what I will do, I will just click on next, and what it is giving you is it is giving you the preview of the data, so you can just check if all the columns are being brought in this particular table, and or in this particular import window, and you can just click on next. Then just click on next, and now these are the column names. Okay, and what should be the, it has automatically it has taken the data type for this particular data. So if you want, you can change, or if you can keep the same if it is correct, right? But here I will be changing few of the data types. So instead of n varchar 50, so 50 is nothing but the number of characters that can be entered in this particular column. So if this column has a text data type, you might have already seen. So I'll just show you first again. So you can see this is the data which we have. So just opening, one sec. This is the data. All right. So you can see this is the item fat content. You can see all the field values which this particular column have. This is a text. So automatically the data type would be the text only. So based on that, it has taken the n varchar 50, but 50 is nothing but I can say it's the number of characters that are allowed in this particular cell. So regular is nothing but it takes 7 characters. So up to 50 are only allowed. So that's the thing. So instead of n varchar, I will just take varchar 50. So wherever you see n varchar, I will just change it to varchar 50 immediately. You can keep n varchar also, but I have a general practice where I change it to varchar, which is a proper text, right? Then next is outlet establishment year. You can see this is the outlet establishment year, and by default it has taken it as small integer. But a small integer, it can be up to 2 or 3 decimal points. So these are not two or three numbers, I can say. It's 2000, 2015, which is greater than 3. So I will just make it as integer. I'll make it as integer. Next, here you can see item visibility. Then rating is also available. So here, if you can see in rating there are values which are in decimal points also. So based on that we have to check that also. So here you can see it has taken tiny integer. Tiny integer won't work over here. We have to take it as float value because there are a few decimal point values are also available over here, right? So now what I will do, I will just hit next, and I will just click on finish. So as soon as you do it, it is giving me an error. So let's see what is the error. I'll just click on error, and here you can see it has been giving an error that process cannot be done because the file is been used by another process. So this is the error because it has been opened over here. So I'll just close this, and that's the reason it is not been uploaded. I'll just go back, click on previous again, and here I will just click on next and I will click on finish. So as soon as I do, you can see a right check mark should be available over here, or you should get a message of this. If you don't get, just click on error over here. The error will show you whatever error you have, and based on that you can correct that error. So just I will just now close this, and now here you can see no table has been uploaded because we already imported, but you cannot see it over here. So for that, I will just click on this refresh button. And now in this particular database, expand this and I will click on tables. And now here you can see an database object or a table has been imported in this particular database, right? So you can see this is already been brought in this particular database. Now what I will do, we have to see that particular data. So for that, I will just right click on this particular database and I will click on option called new query. So as soon as you hit that button, a new query window will be opened over here. And now here you can write the query. So everybody knows if you want to get all the data from this particular Blinkit data, you can just use a select statement. Okay, selects, and I will just click on star. Star gives entire table with all the rows and all the columns which are available in that particular table. And star from where? From this particular table. The name of the table is what? Blinkit data. So I will just write it as Blinkit underscore data. So this is the, and I will just hit execute. So you can see you can either press F5 or you can just click on this execute button. So as soon as you do, you can see over here, you see an entire data has been brought over here, and at the right hand bottom corner you can see the number of rows over here, that is 8523 rows are being brought, and you can check the same number of rows here as well. Check in your data if all the rows has been brought or not. So I'll just see, and you can see from here below you have to calculate, and as soon as I select everything, you can see 8523, the same number of rows. You can see 8524 is the last number of row, but the first one is taken as column header, so it cannot be calculated. So -1, that is nothing but 8523. The total and entire data is been imported in this particular database. So you have to check this first, guys. Okay. So if you are doing it in any database, first go ahead and check if entire data has been imported in that database or not, right? Now next thing what we will do, we will check the count as well. So for that I will just write a query as select count of star. Okay, so it will count everything from this particular list. Okay, you can use this also, and I'll just select this. Okay, if you want to only execute this query, select this query and then execute it. If you execute without selection, it will throw an error, or it will run both the queries. It have ran this query as well, and it have ran the second query as well, but I just want to run the second query. I'll just select and I will run it, and you can see 8523 is the number of rows which are being imported in this entire database. All right, so I hope you have learned something from here, and you are learning. So if you have come at this point of this particular video, so you are learning and you are enjoying this particular video, and you are trying to do the same thing with whichever I am doing, and you will be learning so much things from this project, right? So now we will move ahead. All right, so now next step what we have to do is we have to do some data cleaning in our entire data. So first what I will do, I will retrieve first entire data, and I will show you what data cleaning actually we have to do. So I have just brought in and I have ran the first query, and I have just queried the entire data which we have in our database as in a table. So first thing here, you can see in this particular column there are some irregular names or incorrect names which are given to this particular type field, and based on that only we have to correct this entire field. So here you can see a few of the field members are regular, some are low fat, but here you can see it's in lowercase, that is LOWFAT, which is in complete lowercase. But here you can see there are some LF also, but in more you can see there is REG as well. So you have to clean this entire data set. So where low fat should be converted to this particular text, LF should be again converted to low fat, and REG should be converted to regular. So for that we have to write the query, and we have to change the data which we have in our database. Alright guys, so now you understood what we have to change, and now we have to write a query for that to make that particular change. So I'll just reduce this output window and I will write a query over here. So to update anything or to change anything which is already existing or in the existing table, we have to write an update statement. So I will just write an update statement. So update is being used, or this particular function is used to change which is all we, or we can say correct anything which is there in the data. All right, you cannot delete anything, but you can just update the data which is already present, right? So I will just use an update function. So update, after that it should there is an argument that you should specify the name of the table which you have to update. So I will name the table over here, that is blinky data. So this is the table which we have to change. Then comes the set function. Okay, now set is the function which is used to identify which particular column you have to make change in. But here you can see this is the column which we have to make change in, that is nothing but item fat content. So I will name that particular column over here, that is item fat content, right? And then I will use is equal to. Okay, so now this is the function where we have to write is equal to, and now I will use a case statement. Okay, so now case statement is very similar to if else statement which we write in programming language. It is a conditional statement, so we will be writing some conditions, and based on that condition, if that condition satisfied, what should be the output? Same thing, right? So case statement we have to write. First case statement comes with when. Okay, so when there are some values in the data, then what should be the output? Same, very easy, it's an english language only. So when this particular field, okay, if this particular field, when this particular field have values in, okay, so I'm using an in statement over here because it is an shortcut for or statement which allow us to take multiple values. Okay, in bracket you can write multiple values. Instead of writing multiple or statements, you can write in, and you can just in bracket specify the name of those particular fields, or we can say field values. So in bracket I will write first value which we have to change is LF, right? So you know I have already told you this LF we have to change to low fat, as well as we have to change this in lowercase, whatever low fat we have, that also we have to change. And I have wrote it in double inverted comma because it is a string, right? It is a text, so that we have to write and mention it into single inverted commas, not double. Okay, so and I will write also low fat. Okay, this also we have to change. Close the bracket. When item fat content having these two values, then it should be giving me an output what? Low fat. This should be an output it should give us. That is nothing but again in single quotes I will write low fat. This is the output we want if there are these values, right? Again, once more statement I have to write when. Okay, control C and I will paste it and I will write is equal to when if it is reg, because this is also an incorrect data entry which has been happened in this particular data. When it is reg, it should convert it to regular, right? So when it is equal to reg, when I am writing is equal to, because there is only one single value which we have to change to regular, but here we have two different, so I have used in over here, right? If it is this, then I will change it to regular, right? So this is the change we have to make. Else, okay, if else same the same statement, else it should give us the same value, right? If these two conditions satisfies, then give the output based on this. If this does not satisfies, it should be giving me the same values which are there already in the database. That is nothing but item fat content. And now I will end this particular statement, right? So this is the simple query which we wrote, and now we'll just select this entire thing and I will execute. And here you will get an output as 8523 rows are been affected. And now we have to see how the rows are been affected. Now what I will do, I will just select this query and I will run this entire query. I will just bring all the table and check over here. So here you can see all the values are being changed. But if you still want to see if the values are really changed or not, I will write one more query over here and I will just copy this from here and I will paste it over here, and here I will write distinct function so it can give me and bring all the distinct values from item fat content. Okay, so this will give me all the distinct values and I'll just execute this, and here you can see there are only two distinct values now available in this particular field, that is low fat and regular. So in this way we have cleaned our data. Okay, so this is how you do data cleaning, a very basic step I've just showed you. And now we have cleaned the entire data. If you run again, you can check this and you can go row by row also, and I'm sure you won't find any discrepancy in the data now in this particular field specifically. So this is how you clean the data. And now next we will actually go with our problem statement, fire the queries and get the output which are required for us. All right guys, so now let's start with our actual requirements. So the first KPI requirements, and in that you have to find out the total sales, and the total sales is nothing but the total revenue generated in the entire data. All right, so now so this is the query where we are writing the editor, we are writing the queries. So I will just bring all the data, I'll just execute this. Sorry, so I'll just execute this, and here you can see we have one field called total sales. Okay, so by using this entire field, we are going to find out the sales which are there, or the total sales available for us, and we will be finding out the first KPI. So we will be making use of this particular field called total sales. So firstly, I will just delete everything first from here. Now here I will write that particular query, that is nothing but the total sales, right? So it's very simple. This is the very basics, or we are going to start with the basic part, and that's what we are going to do over here. Sales is nothing but we are going to find out sum of sales, that is the aggregation functions which we are going to use in SQL. So I'll just write select. Okay, and we have like total sales is nothing but sum. So aggregation everything. So I will just write sum and sum of total sales. Okay, the field name which we have in our data, that is nothing but this total sales, and from we have to bring it from Blinkit data, right? So this is the simple query which will give us the total sales, and I will just select this and I will execute this, and here you can see the amount which is nearly equal to 120 million, that is 1201681.47. Okay, so that is what we actually need over here. And one thing only we will give here is we will give it an alias name. Okay, so I'll just give it as alias as total sales. Okay, and now I will run this, and you can see the name of this particular column which is a temporary name. Okay, as is nothing but alias, a temporary name given in the output itself for this particular query. All right, so Now, one more thing what you can do over here is I want to bring it in millions. Okay, that is nothing but output show the value in terms of millions. Okay, so here you can modify this particular query, which will be some advanced functions which will be using over here. That is nothing but I will use a cast function. Okay, so I'll use the cast function at the start of the sum of cells. I will just show it here. Okay, so this is sum of total cells, and cast, it will give us that nothing but it will allow us to show or help us to give the number in terms of how many decimal points also, right? So here we are going to show only up to 2 decimal points, and we also want into millions. Okay, so millions is nothing but 10 to the power 6. So what we will do, we will divide this entire value first by 1 million, that is 1 million. So what we will do, we will just take this and we will divide it by 1000, 1 million actually. So you have to write 1 and then 60 for that. And I will be using one more as function which will be for cast, and we will be casting it as decimal. Okay, I will use a decimal function over here. So decimal function is used to give or to convert this particular number in the specific digits. Okay, if you want 2 digits, 3 digits after that particular point over here, so based on that we can do that, and we'll be using 10 comma 2. Okay, so what's the significance of 10 is nothing but if your the entire number is having 10 digits before and after this particular decimal point, then it will be considered as 10. And 2 is nothing but it will give us the fixed two decimal points after your, or 2 digits after your decimal point. Okay, so this is what which is important, right? And then I will close one more bracket which will be for cast. Okay, so what only thing what we have done here is we have divided this by 1 million to show it in millions. That is nothing but it will give an output as millions. And now what I will do, I will just change this to total sales in millions, so it will give us an idea that so whatever output data we are going to get, it will be in millions, right? And you will understand that yeah, the value is in millions. So I will just select this, I will run this. Okay, and you can see I will be getting a value as 1.20 because we have divided it into divided by 1 million, and then 2 decimal points because we are using a decimal function over here. And you can see the name of the output table column has been also changed, that is total sales in millions, right? So in this way we have found out the total sales over here. And you can do one more thing also, you can use concat function over here. Just try to use concat function over here, and at the end just try to add millions over here. So that will be your homework. And one more thing you have to do, guys, after you are generating these queries and all those things, try to create a document, because whenever in real time also you will be working, you will be firing such SQL queries to your database. But what happens is you cannot only fire the query and look to the results, right? Sometimes your manager, your team leader, or your client may also ask you that whatever queries you have fired and whatever output you have generated, you have to store all of them, the query as well and the output as well, and with respect to the problem statement as well. So he will ask you to do these particular things, and for that you have to be ready, and you have to show him those particular queries as well. And it will be a proof that you have fired the queries and you have generated this particular result at that point of time. So you should be able to generate that document. And it is also required, let's say you are working on a project, but after a few months you are been taken to another project, or you left that particular industry. So it is required for a new resource who is coming to fill your place. So it will be easy for him to understand, to read all the documents whatever you done, and then he can take it forward from that particular point of that project, and then he can work on that particular project very easily. And this is a very standard practice, it is maintained in each and every industry and each and every project. So I request you to learn and do it from now only, and just try to create such document. Okay, so you can see I have created this particular document, that is blanket analysis, which is a query document. And likewise you can just create documents. So like for total sales, I have wrote this particular query and I have generated this result, right? The same way you can do, you can generate the result over here. and you can save it in your portfolio. You can upload to your GitHub, and then it will be stored that you created this project, you learned this particular project. All right. So this was the total sales in millions, right? Now next, as per our problem statement, is you have to find out average sales. So very easy. What I will do, I will just write a select statement, and instead of sum, we wanted average. So we'll take average of what? Total sales. Okay. And next, what we want is from which particular data? From this. Okay. So select average of total sales from Blinkit data. Okay, and I will just run this query, and you can see this is the average, that is 140.99. Okay, but if you want to give a temporary name to this, that is average underscore sales. Okay, and I will run this and execute this, and you can see average underscore sales is the name, and this is the average sales. But you want up to 2 decimal points, okay, or 0 decimal points. Then what you can do over here is you can just go here, and I will just cast this. Okay, but what decimal will do, I will show you. I will just cast this first. Okay, and I want to don't divide it by anything, because we want the exact value, right? If you divide it into any particular value, it will either give you in thousands or millions or lakhs, but that we don't want. It's already a very small value and readable value, so I will just keep it as it is. I don't divide it by anything, and I will be using an as function, and then I will use a decimal function over here, right? And firstly, I will just use 10 comma 2 itself. I will close the bracket for decimal and close the bracket for this average, that is for cast, sorry. And now when I run this, I will get 140.99. Okay, and what decimal is giving us, it is giving us the 2 decimal points after this, sorry, two digits after this particular decimal point. But we don't want any digits. I'll just change it to 0. Okay, I don't want any digit after the decimal point. I completely want a rounded off value. And now you can see it is 140.99. And when I run this particular query, and when I execute it gives me 141. That is, it is rounding off the value, and it is giving me as 140.99 is nothing but 141. So this is nothing but it gives you an average sales. If you write over here 1 also, it will give you the 1 decimal point. Likewise, you can see 1 point after that particular value, right? So it depends what value actually you want, and average sales is always calculated either at 1 decimal point or with no decimal points, right? So that's how you have to find out the average sales. So this was all about the average sales. Now next we have to find out the number of items. So before doing this, I will show you the data which we have. So whatever data you have in your database, so each row over here is an entry for a single item, right? So each and every row here indicates that the item was brought, right? So it is very easy now for us to calculate that number of items is nothing but over here. So as per our problem statement, the number of items is nothing but the total rows which are available in our entire database, right? So this is how we are going to find out the number of items. So it is very easy. I will just write the select statement, and I will use a count function. Count of what? Everything. So I will just use count of star, which is everything, and I will bring it from Blinkit data. Okay, and I will just run this. So you can see when I execute this, it is 8523 are the number of items. And if you want to give a temporary name, I can name it as number of items. All right, and I'll run this, and this is what number of items is nothing but the number, right? Now, furthermore, in this entire the three KPIs we have, which you have already found out, you can find the data at more granular level at or at a more deeper also. So let's say I will just run this entire query first, execute, right? And now I want to find out the total sales for low fat. Okay, so now what I will do, so I have already found out this total sales. I will run this. Okay, if I run this particular query, this value whichever I am getting over here, it is for entire data which I have. But I want to find out, I will just run this query, and I want to find out only for low fat, that is for item fat content at low fat. What I will do, I will modify the same query, and now I want to only apply it for low fat. So I will give here a filter condition. So I will just use a where query over here, and I will find out as item fat content. Okay, and I will just take that item fat content should be equal to what? Low fat, but it's a string, so I will have to write it in a single quotes. So I will just write it as low fat. Oops, close this quotes, right? And now I will just select this and I will run this query. Now here you can see you are getting a value as 0.78, which is very particular to this particular condition, a filter condition we have applied here, that is nothing but low fat, right? Similar way you can find it for multiple others also, like so let's say you want to find out for establishment year of 2022. So here you can just change here at filter condition as outlet establishment year as 2022. So now I have not writing any single quotes over here because this is a numerical value. You can take it and directly write it. Okay, and I will just execute it. So it is 0.13, right? So for any numeric database or integer database, data type, I'm not sure database, for data type, it is not recommended that you should write it in a single quotes. It's only required whenever there is an alphanumerical value or a complete text value, so which is a string. So for that, for SQL to understand, it should be written in a single quotes, but make sure you are not doing any mistakes in that particular thing, otherwise it will not give you the outputs, right? All right guys, so in this way you can just go ahead and use different dimensions. You can just apply the filter conditions, and not only for sum of sales, the same filter condition I will just copy this and you can apply it for average sales also. So if I apply for average sales and if I execute this, you can see the outlet establishment year for 2022, the average sales is 0.141.7. The same condition you can apply it for here also, for number of items also. And I will just run this and I will show you. You can see there are 928 items for establishment year in 2022. So likewise, there can be multiple filter conditions applied based on different requirements. So I'm just giving you an overall idea of how the queries are being fired, and you can just practice and explore more with different dimensions over here, right? So this was for the first three KPIs. Now we will move ahead with our next, that is to find out the average ratings. Okay. So first I'll just run the entire data set over here. And here you can see you have an option or a field called rating. And just we have to find out the average rating, and we will be using the same field. So I will just write a select statement over here. Select, and now we have to find out average, and average rating we have to find out. Not this is the field name which we are taking over here. Make sure you write the correct spells. Okay. And from where I want it, from Blinkit data. Okay, the name of the table. Okay, and I will just run this particular query, and you can see it is 3.96. So what I will do, I will just give it as average rating, the name, the temporary name. But one more thing you have to do here is I want it up to 2 decimal points. I will use a cast function again over here. So I will use a cast function, and with that I will use as a decimal function, and 10 comma 2, I want 2 decimal points after 2 digits after the decimal points, sorry. And just execute this. Okay, and here you can see average rating, which is 3.97. And again, as I told you, you can apply again a filter condition over here, and based on that particular filter condition you can see the data or see that particular average ratings for different um, dimensions and different where conditions, or we also call it as a filter conditions. And where function works row by row. It will go and scan each and every row which is available in the database, and then based on that it will give us the output. All right, so this was all about the KPIs guys, and now we have to move ahead with our next requirement, that is for granular requirements. Okay, so here you can see the next business requirement is for granular requirements, and the first thing what we have to find out is total sales by fat content. Okay, and we are not only finding out the total sales, you can also find out the additional metrics as well. Like you can find out average sales, number of items, and average ratings as well. Right? So I will tell you how to find out entire thing. So first what I will do, I will just delete this entire thing now, and or we'll just keep this. I will just write over here, and first I'll bring the entire data in front of us. All right, so now I've just brought the entire data, and now what we have to actually find out is total sales by fat content. So here you can see the item fat content column is already available, which we cleaned this particular column, or we cleaned the data in this particular column at a few minutes back. Now what we will do, we have to make use of this particular column, and we have to find out the sales for that particular fat content, right? So for that I will just write a query over here, select. Okay, now what I have to bring is I have to also bring the item fat content. So this column should be brought in output, so I have to write that column first over here, that is item fat content. Okay, so this column should be brought in on output, and comma, I want sum of sales for that. So sum of sales, so sum of total sales it would be. Okay, and it should, I will name this as total sales as an output. Okay, and I want to bring it from where? From Blinkit data. Simple. So very simple query, and I will just run this particular query. And whenever I do, it's keep throwing me an error. It's an invalid. Okay, so what's happening over here? I will just do one thing. Okay, so what's actually happening over here, because we have brought one dimension field, and with that dimension field we are trying to do some aggregation over here. So whenever you are using any aggregation with a dimension field, or with a qualitative field, what happens is sum is nothing but an aggregation function. Any sum, average, minimum, maximum, these are aggregated functions. So whenever you are bringing it into the in a dimension field, you have to group it. Okay, so for that, always you remember you have to group it. So I will use a group by function over here, and I will group by whatever field you have brought in that dimension field you have brought, you have to group it by that same field. So I'll just bring it and click over here, and now I will run this particular query. And here you can see now I am getting the total sales. Now one more thing, what I will do in this particular query, I have to you know order it by in descending order, so which is already in descending order. But in case if the values are inverted, and so right now it is giving based on the alphabetical orders, right? It is automatically using that. So first thing I will order by. Okay, and I have to order it by what? This total sales. So that is nothing but order it by total sales. If you don't write anything over here, by default it will be taking it in ascending order, but I want it in descending order, so I will use a DSC function, which will give me in descending order. So when I run this, it will not change because already the output was in descending order. But in case if it is not, then you will have to write this function, right? Now next thing what I have to do here is, you can see the total sales value. I have to only give the two decimal points after this, right? So again what I will do then, for here I will use a cast function. So I will use a cast function over here. All right, and I will use it as decimal in comma to simple, and I'll just run this particular query now. And now it is giving up me up to two decimal points. And as I told you when I was reading the problem statement, I also want to bring additional information. That is, let's say I want to bring average sales, I want to bring count of orders also, and I want to bring average ratings also for this particular fat content itself. That is, we want to analyze more metrics over here. So that for that, what I can do is, let's say I bring this to a second column, and I will just write it over here. So this gives me sum of sales, and I will write comma over here, and I will just enter, and I want to bring average sales also. So from here what I will do, I will just bring this average sales here. I will not waste much time. So you can write this. What I'm doing here is I have also brought average sales, and I've already casted it to show me up to one decimal point. Okay, and this is the average sales comma, and I will also bring the count of orders. So this is the count of orders for me. So this will give me the count of orders comma, enter. And now I also want to show average ratings also. So I will just bring this also over here, and I will just paste it over here, right? So now this is the query which I have modified, which will give me all these four metrics in the output. Okay, so now let's say I am running this query, just select it and I run this query, and now you can see for this particular item fat content, it gives me the total sales for low fat regular, it gives me the average sales for both of them, the division of the number of items, so how they are distributed, and average ratings, you can see both are same, right? Okay, so in this way you will be analyzing and generating the output, and as I told you, just save this particular output in your query document. All right, so let's say now in going forward, what you have to do, you have to see it for outlet establishment year 2022. So now what I will do, so I will have to write a where condition over here. So the same where condition which has been written, okay, I will just use this where condition and I will just run this particular query. And now you can see the values are being changed over here. Why? Because we are looking all the data where outlet establishment year is 2022. Let's say you want to find it for 2020. Okay, and I will just select this and I will run this. Okay, so now you can see enter values are again changed because we are seeing the value now for 2020. So in this way, guys, what you have to do here is you have to see the and apply different conditions. You should know how to write this particular metrics for different metrics, how the values are, and from here the insights can be taken that if I remove this particular where condition, okay, and now when I run this particular query, and from here you can take a insights that low fat content is giving us the most number of sales. Also the most number of orders are also taken from the both, right? But the average sales is slightly down by a few points, okay, which is completely acceptable, but it is giving us the more revenue. And the regular fat content is the second most, that is it is giving us the revenue of 425376. And obviously you can convert this to thousands. Okay, so how can you convert this to thousands? You can just divide this by 1000. Okay, and now you will get it in the thousands, and you can name this total sales in thousands. Okay, and simply learn this now. So it's invalid over here because this total sales should be given, order by also should be changed based on that. Okay, oops. Now just run this, and now you can see it is being giving us 776.32, sorry, and here you can add at last k also. As I told you, you have to use concat function over here, which will be your homework, and just try to apply a k over here, which will give that, yeah, 776.32 k is nothing but it is in thousands, so sales are in thousands, right? So that you can do it on your own. So this was the first one. Now next we have to find out total sales by item type. Okay, and now what I will do, I'll just run this particular query over here, and now you have to find it for item type. So you can see here you have an already a field called item type, the same thing which we are going to use over here. And now what I will do, guys, I will just modify the same query over here. We don't have to write the query again and again. So what I have to do here is, instead of writing item fat content, I will be using item type. So I'll just remove this from here and I'll just write it as item type. Okay. So one more changes, if you run this particular query itself, it will throw you an error. Why? Because you have used item type over here, and after that you have used so many metrics which are used and summarized. You can see sum, average, count. These are all summations, right? You are using an aggregation functions over here, not summation, aggregated functions. But you are grouping it by item fat content, which is wrong. You have to group it by item type. Whichever dimension field you are bringing in query, the same field you have to bring over here. I will just name it as item type. And now if you run this particular query, so you will get an entire result based on this particular item type. Okay, and obviously we have also ordered this particular by using sales. Okay, so for sales value you are looking at in descending order, right? And you have already divided it by thousand, so it is in thousands. So what I'll do, I will remove this. I don't want it in thousands, so remove this, and this also it will be just in total sales. Right now here also you have to make change. Make sure that in order by also you make this change. Remove this, because whatever alias name over here is given, the same should be available here also in order. Right? And now I will run this, and now you can see the total sales is giving you an exact value just with 2 digits after your decimal points, right? And it is in sorted in descending order. And here you can see the best selling item or item type is fruits and vegetables on Blinkit, right? So fruits and vegetables are contributing to highest sales. Next is snacks. Okay, the snacks food. The next is household items, frozen foods, right? So these are top five. And if you want to see bottom five, you can just see these are the bottom five. Like the hardings, other starchy foods, breakfast, right? Let's say if you want to see the top five itself, you can use one more function over here called limit five. Okay. So when I use this function and when I run this, okay, so it is giving me an error. Actually, we cannot write the limit function over here in MS SQL Server. Instead, what I will use, I will use a top function and I will use it over here. So just give me top five. Okay. So just give me top five item type. And when I run this particular query, so it will just give me top five item types. And we have already sorted it in descending order. So automatically it will give me the top five best sellers item types. Okay. Let's say if you want to find out bottom five, but you don't have to write here a bottom function over here. Keep it as top five only, but instead of sorting it in descending order, we will sort it in ascending order. So automatically they will come at the top, and those five will be the worst five or the bottom five. So I will just use an ascending function, or you just don't write anything. That will also work. It will be automatically default taken as ascending. And I will now run this particular query. And now here you can see this is in ascending order, right? So in this way you can just play with your query, and obviously you can also apply the where condition. So right now I'm using this outer outlet establishment here as an where condition, but there are so many data fields and uh, you know uh, fields available which you can use and as an where condition, and you can generate the output for you. All right. So this is how you do it for the item type. So this was our problem statement. Now next thing you have to find out is fat content by outlet for total sales, right? So here we have to find it by outlet also and by fat content also. So this is some trick here, and what we will do here is I will just try to tell you. So I'll just use the same query again. I will just delete this, and now what I have run is I want outlet also and outlet for total sales also. First I will just run the entire data, and I will show you what fields we are going to use. So here we are going to use outlet location type. Okay, which tier that particular location is, and we are also going to use item fat content. So first I will use the outlet location first. Okay, so I will just get an outlet location over here. Outlet location type. Okay, comma, and next I have to also use item fat content. Okay, item fat content. Okay. So these are the two fields, and now if I run this query, it will throw me an error. Okay, yes, obviously it will throw me an error because what I have to do here is you can see the group by has been incorrect because we have to group it by whatever the dimensions we have. So we have two dimensions, we will group it by both of them. Okay, I'll just paste it over here, and now we'll run this and I will see. So it's still showing us a syntax error, and I have to write here as comma. Okay, here also there should be a one more comma, and I will run this. Now here you can see based on tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, it is giving us regular fat content and it is giving us the duplicated result. But what I want is I want outlet location type in rows, and fat content should be there in columns like regular here, and then here should be low fat content, and then there should be the cells and other values, right? So first we'll only calculate it for cells, so I'll just delete this. Okay, the other contents I will just delete this, remove this comma as well. So I will just run this query now, and now it is just giving me from cells, but I want uh this in a different way. So for that I've already wrote the query. I will use that only. So where is it? So yeah, this is the query. All right, so I'll just take this particular query and I'll just run this. Okay, so this is the query which I have wrote. I have already mentioned the document in the in the description box. You can download it and you can use it. And now I will just run this particular query, and now you can see the outlet location. I'm getting it in terms of rows, and this low fat and regular is shown in terms of this particular as in columns, and now I'm getting the sales value. So what this actually does is select outlet location type, so it is giving me that particular value, and so this particular outlet location type and comma I want one more column that is nothing but low fat. Okay, so this is giving me low fat column, and this is giving me a row regular column, and this is nothing but outlet location type. So this is the three columns which is generating for us. Then from where we want from outlet location type, and then the same in that only we are bringing out sales as well. Then obviously if we are bringing, so we are actually writing here a nested query, all right, and based on the nested query only we are generating the results over here, right? And obviously if we are using a sum function, we have to group it by with whatever we are writing it in a select statement, right? And then we are pivoting this actually, right? Pivot function is used to transform whatever is there in rows it into the columns, right? So that's what we are using a pivot function over here. And again we are bringing up the sum of cells and as a pivot table, right? And then we are ordering it by based on the order location type. So in this way you can use this particular query and you can find out, right? So I have already given the explanation of this entire query in the query document. You can read the entire explanation of why we are actually writing this particular query in this particular way itself, and you will understand why we are writing those particular functions as well over here, right? So this is somewhat a tricky query and advanced query which we are writing over here. And obviously you can find it for average sales also, but here you cannot enter the multiple columns over here for getting those particular metrics. You have to one by one add it over here. So once you have seen it for sum of sales, you can now then change everything and see it for average sales, average ratings, and number of orders as well, right? So in this way we are finding it for outlet location type and low fat content. All right, now next thing what I will do, we will go to our next problem statement, that you have to find out total sales by outlet establishment. So this is somewhat easy now. So first what I will do, I will just delete this entire query. Okay, and now I'll just change this query itself, right? So in this query only we will modify it. Now we want for outlet establishment here. First I will bring all the data over here, and you can see this is the column we are going to use. Then you can see the name of the column is outlet establishment here. So I will just write it over here, outlet establishment here. Okay, this is the field, and this I don't want. Okay, and copy this, and we have to group it by with this itself and remove this. Okay, and when I run this particular query, it will give me an out, right? So you can see outlet establishment here, but here we are ordering it by total sales. But here you can see the establishment years should be from the minimum value to maximum value. So instead of grouping it by total sales, we will group it by outlet establishment year itself. Control V, and we want it in ascending order itself from lower to higher, right? And now I will run this particular query, and you can see it is now giving me a proper result from 1998 up to 2022, which is a proper data. So we can see year-wise results of outlet establishment here. Getting or not? So this is how you write this particular query. And as we done in previous, you can add here multiple items, right? Multiple I can say it as matrix. So control V, comma, I can add count also, just this, and we can add ratings as well. So just add a comma over here and paste it over here, and now I will run this particular entire query. So you can see all the metrics you can see and analyze at one go for outlet establishment here, and you can take the insights from here, right? And if you want to see the total sales, let's say you want to see the maximum sales from start to end, then obviously you can just take total sales, you can paste it over here, and instead of ascending you want it in descending. Okay, and I will just run this particular query, and now here you can see 1998 just gave us the most sales till date because it was opened very earlier. So that's what the sales we are getting over here. And the least one is 2011 one. Okay, but here you can see 2022, which was the most recent open store, still it is giving us the good sales, that is 131,477, right? It is the most recent opened year, opened stores till it is giving us the good sales, right? So in this way, you can go ahead and analyze based on outlet establishment here as well and take the insights from here as well. All right. So this was for outlet establishment here. All right. So next, as per our problem statement, we will move ahead with our next requirement, and we have is to find out the percentage of sales by outlet size. So here we have to find out percentage of sales. So what we will do, we will find out the sales as well, the total sales as well, and the percentage of sales as well, right? So I will just show you what we will be doing over here. First, what I will do, I will just retrieve all the data. I will just fire this query. So now here you can see I have retrieved all the data over here. And based on that outlet, what we have to find outlet size. So here is the outlet size. There are different outlet size, small, medium, high. And based on that, we have to find out the percentage of sales as well as the total sales. So for this, I've already wrote the query. What I will do, I will just copy the query and I will show you how it works. And here also I have mentioned the explanation of this particular query. Yeah, you can read this if you are not getting through my explanation. And for your after or later references also you can use that. So this is the query which I've wrote and I will just explain you how it works. So here I have taken the outlet size. Okay, so obviously we want the outlet size wise percentage of sales and total sales. So I have wrote here the outlet size, I need it. Then I have taken the cost, that is sum of sales, and this is nothing but total sales, right? And I need it up to two digits after that a decimal point, right? So this is the sum of sales, but this is important what we are doing over here. So what we have done over here, we have taken the sum of sales, okay. We have taken the entire sum of sales and we have multiplied it by 100, okay. So just neglect this part. Okay, we will see from here, right? So this particular thing. What I have taken? We have taken sum of sales, multiplied it by 100. Why we have done this? Because obviously to convert anything into percentage, we have to multiply it by 100. So on numerator, I have already multiplied sum of sales by 100. Okay, then divided by, okay, so the sales of that particular outlet divided by the total sales we have to take. Total sales, when I take say total sales, it should be the sales irrespective of outlet size. It should be the sales of all the outlet size which are available. That is nothing but the entire data set's total sales, right? And that's the reason we have taken sum of sales over here, but we are using an outer sum also with an window function called over. Okay, so over allows us to take and sum of this particular sale. That is sum of this over entire data set, because we have not used any partition function over here. If we are using any partition function, then it would be at that particular window size. Okay, so this is a window function, but we have not specified any window size over here. So it will be taking for entire data set, and that is what we actually need over here. So this sum is for this over, and this sum of sales is obviously for all the outlet size whichever are there. Each for each outlet size it will calculate, and then all the sum of that outlet size will be again summed up, and then it will give us the total sales, right? So this is the entire thing, and then the entire division is been casted to show up to two decimal points, right? And then this is nothing but will be shown as a sales percentage. And obviously we want it from Blinkit data, and whatever you already know, whatever we are doing aggregation, it should be grouped by with whatever dimension field we are using in our data set, and then we are ordering it by total sales, right? So if you are still having any confusion on how this query actually works, you can read the documentation. So this document you can download from the description box, and you can read it everything. So I'll just run this query now and I will just execute it. And here you can see we are getting outlet size as medium, small, and high with respect to in descending order of sales, and their sales percentage out of total. So 42% is outlet size, sales are done by medium. Okay, and you can see high. So the this is actually worrying, because you can see the size of outlets which are very high, they are not doing actually that amount of sales. It is lowest, that is 20%, but medium sizes are doing good amount of sales where it is 42%. So what business can do is, instead of doing or bringing stores, outlet size stores, they can go with medium sized stores, and instead of single high media high store, they can convert a single into two medium stores, so that it can be serving to two different locations, and they can effectively act also from there, right? So this can be an insight taken from here. All right, so this is an important insight which we are taking, right? Then next thing, the after next one, we have to find out sales by outlet location. So this will be very easy. What I will do, I will just copy this query itself over here. Okay. And I will paste it over here. First, I will run the entire this query. We will see the entire table. And now what we have to find out is we have to find out outlet location, sales by outlet location. So you can see here the location, the outlet location is available here. That is outlet location type. This field we will be using, and instead of finding sales, we will find all these metrics over here. So what we will do, I will just change this to outlet location type. Okay. So this is the thing, and this is the column we want. Control C, and also we have to group it by the same dimension which we are using, right? And then we'll just run this particular query. And as soon as you do, you can see with respect to outlet location, we are getting the sales, and we are ordering this particular sales, total sales by descending order. So this is in descending order, and you also get to see the average sales number of items and average ratings also. So you can see the tier 3 location, whichever are there, they are doing maximum number of sales like 472k. Tier 2 is 393 and tier 1 is 336, right? You can also find out the percentage of sales also, the like we did in last query over here, right? Here we did percentage of sales. You can find it over here also, right? Not a big deal. Let's find it out. I will just take it Control C, and I will just paste it over here, right? And I will just hit, and then we will run this entire query. Okay, here you can see. So sales percentage for tier 3 is 39, tier 2 is 32, and tier 1 is 27, or we can say approximately 28. So in this way, you can take multiple insights, and obviously I already told you you can apply a where condition over here, which will help you to apply a filter and get the filtered data for you. And then you can take any insights from there as well. All right. So the condition which we applied over here. So this one, let's say we find out for where condition for this. Okay. So where establishment year is 2022. So we will get all the data for this particular filter for where condition. So you can see in 2022 there was only tier 3, okay, which was doing 100% of sales, and this is the sales, average sales, number of items and average ratings, right? So let's say we find it for 2020, okay, and in 2020 there was just tier 2, right? So in this way you can slice and dice the data, and you can bring out and generate different insights over here. All right. So this was the sales by outlet location, and now we have to find out all the metrics based on outlet type. Okay. So obviously we have already taken all the metrics over here. We just have to take outlet type. So first I will run the entire query from here, select it and run it. And here only we will modify the query, that is by with respect to outlet type. So you have an outlet type over here. So what we will do, we'll just change the name of this to outlet type, right? So this is the outlet type. Control C, and we change here also to outlet type, that is grouping it by. And I will run this query, and here you can see this is by outlet type, but we have applied a where filter over here. I will remove that first, and we will see it for entire data set. And now we will run this query. And now you can see the superstore market type 1 gives the maximum sales, which contributes to 65%. Grocery store is one of the market type which contributes to 12%. Super type market type 2 is 10%, approximately 11%, and this is also approximately 11%, the same things, right? So, and you can also see the average sales over here, the number of items, the average ratings of each and every outlet type, right? So based on this, you can generate different insights, and different, uh, you know, uh, decisions can be taken by that particular business owner as well. For us, it will be a big data analysis, right? So this is the way how you do analysis, and this is the problem statement. Very few problem statement I have created from this particular video, but as I told, there can be multiple problems can be created. 20 to 30 problems can be created. These are the few which I have just demoed you in front of your screen. But as I told you, these are the main, but you can deep dive in the data. You can generate more and more queries. You can generate more and more result and take more and more insights from this particular data. right? So this was all, and if you have come at this particular point, so you have completed this project, and I'm sure you might have learned so many different functions in SQL, how to write the queries and how to query the particular data which we have and generate different results for our client. All right. So just if you have enjoyed and if you have learned something, go ahead and like this video, subscribe my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Till then, happy learning. Bye bye.